Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Afterparty, where I am so excited to chase the wheel of cheese through this conversation to learn as much as we can about this, the heart of the cards in the Compost facility. How you doing, players? How you doing, Eric?
The heart of the cheese.
Heart of the cheese.
That's right.
Damn. That's like,
Damn.
damn, dude. I'm just trying to draw. Imagine Yu-Gi-Oh was like, all right, now, Wheel of Cheese. And it saved his grandpa from going into the danger zone. That would be crazy.
Wheel of cheese in defense mode.
I'm sure you've all seen the Italian medaling gymnast from the women's gymnastics who has a Parmesan cheese sponsorship and has taken lots of glamour shots with wheels of cheese.
Amanda, I'm so mad about that tweet because she's not sponsored by Parmesan. She's sponsored by Parmigiano Reggiano, which is so much better than just the average Parmesan.
I was like,
Please.
damn, did the Parmesan lobby just like select this girly as their favorite? But no, that makes more sense.
Parmigiano Reggiano only comes from one region, has to be aged under certain specifications for a certain amount of time. Anything can call itself Parmesan. It has to be Parmigiano Reggiano.
I saw that and I was like, this is the only thing I ever want to be sponsored by, I think.
Yes, correct.
Like, one of those wheels that she's with is, like, worth, like, a couple grand.
And they're like 75 pounds and she's holding it like a stuffed animal. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
I don't know. Unless American healthcare gets it together, I feel uncomfortable being sponsored by Big Parma.
Stupid.
Like, you could just get CVS brand for like $5. Come on.
You just get generic cheese. Eric, that was really good.
You could use Good RX and get that Parm for like $15 a bottle.
Can I tell you a cheese story that I don't think I've shared with y'all?
Always.
Oh, God.
There was a time, it's not that crazy, but there was a time in New York when I was living there that my brother texted me. You guys might remember this. And he was like, hey, heads up, this truck is giving away wheels of cheese.
The dream.
I don't remember
And I
that.
was like, Seth, what the fuck are you talking about? There was a truck somewhere up north in Manhattan that was like either going out of business or something. And it was like a grilled cheese truck or something. And so they were literally like giving away wheels of cheese.
Brandon, what kind?
Any kind you fucking want, Julia.
Was it
It
like
was
a getting at a
incredible.
dairy sale? Like what was the why?
Eric?
Truck was going out of business.
I don't know, man.
No more grilled cheeses for that truck.
I know it's not the case, but I do like the idea that they're like, why are we spending so much money on gas? Oh, it's probably all the wheels of cheese we've been driving around the streets of Manhattan.
You know, it's so true. I have a feeling that after like whatever was left after the going out of business giveaway, probably that quality of cheese and under is what we were chasing down the hill with Captain Graft and Strunge in
Wow.
episode 48, Legends of the Compost 4.
Wow.
You were not chasing that Segway either, though. You nailed it. You
Thank you
got
so
first
much.
place in that Segway race.
Thank you so much.
Didn't
Well
even
done.
have to cheat.
Didn't even have to cheat.
Incredible. Saved Man 97 wants to know, per the usual, very curious what the dice rolls were for the cheese wheel chase. I assume it was a table, but what were the options, Eric?
Yeah, Eric, what were the options?
Baby, you know it's a table. I got you. I'm tabling all over the place. So
Is he a carpenter? Because he makes tables on the reg. Sorry, I
Who
give
are you,
myself
Jesus Christ?
give myself a 3 out of 10 on that one.
yes, Brandon. I'm Jesus Christ. Table carpenter.
Only carpenter that ever existed. Jeezy Creasy.
Jeezy Creasy, sponsored by Big Parma. If we were a different type of podcast, that would be the title of this episode.
Listen, it sure is good to be the real.
Oh, I sure hope so. Okay, so the main thing I wanted to do here was that I wanted this game to be very straightforward and simple because these are prisoners thrown into prison, may or may not have had a reason to do so, and maybe it was just kind of the world government flexing or not being let out of world government prison when you fall into the trap, right? That's what Captain Graff said. He oopsied his way in there, and then he's doing this. So they're just like, they're doing this. The whole thing that we figured out in this episode is that they get the food that comes in before the blackberry dragon comes out is just like in a big pile. You know how they always called the beginning of the Hunger Games the cornucopia?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah. So I always thought, like, what if that happened twice a day? It was just food, and there's not like arrows in there. So I thought it would be funny to like they had this makeshift chest that maybe they made out of a big crate that is kind of the guards drop, and then they have to pull out some types of fruit or veggies or cheese that they're going to be chasing down. So it was just like strength checks, as you saw, you know, just like whoever can run down the hill the fastest. So I have a table here. If you roll a d10, 1 through 6 is cheese, and then I had I think I had like sizes on a smaller one. I think I had you roll 1d4 for sizes. If you rolled a 7, you pulled out a watermelon, and it's slow.
Ooh.
So it would have been like if you could have overran it, and that would have been a big problem. So it would have been more like boxing out and trying to grab it. The 8, it was a giant banana.
Nice.
That one was really fast, though, actually.
Yeah, it was the fastest. Is that it curved towards a competitor, and like it might.
Sure.
I would roll for which way it actually curved, and then it might
That's
have just
fine.
like ended up in someone's hands. And then 9 was a coconut, which obviously is demonic because it's the devil's fruit.
Yeah,
if
sure.
God, she, in her infinite feminine wisdom, wanted us to get into the coconut, then she wouldn't have made it so hard to crack, obviously. And then 10 would have been a crab.
Excellent.
It would have been a
Hell
coconut.
yeah.
It would have been a coconut crab. So you wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. Yeah.
Incredible.
Amazing.
That's so
Yeah.
cute.
So yeah, it was fun. I'm glad it's almost like worthwhile that whatever we got was what we got. Like it didn't matter. And there's a reason why. It's like 1 through 6 are cheese and the other ones are sillier, but I think it's just kind of, I'm trying to have the game mechanics reflect the narrative situation that's happening here.
Sure.
Incredibly fun and actually consequential, where we learn some things about the environment. We learn some stuff about magic, about our competitor. Guys, how bad do we want to kill Captain Graft after this obvious and blatant cheating?
I don't know if I necessarily want to kill him. I am a competitive person, but I don't think Cammy is. So I don't think Cammy is like, yeah, he cheated. We have to murder him.
I mean, I think like Umbi obviously like respects the game, you know? Like they're all pirates. They always cheat. Whatever, man.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean he's not going to call you out for it, so he can try to get the advantage when he kicks you out of the race, you know? And then
Yes.
cheats himself, but better.
As Umbi always says, don't hate the player, hate the game.
That's what he says. He has a fucking sweatshirt that says that, Julia.
Mhm. Famously.
I really hoped you were going to say chest tattoo, Brandon, and that would have just like opened up
Also
a
good.
whole lot of possibilities for my Umbi fandom.
Nip to nip. That's where it goes.
It's like in the Sailor Jerry style, like the real classic.
Uh-huh.
There's an anchor
Yeah.
surrounded by donate the player, hate the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the rope of the anchor.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But of course, nothing's ever as simple as just a nice game for us to play in this underwater prison with our compatriots, because we have a pretty unexpected visitor at the end of this episode.
Oh,
Strunge?
Scrunge?
We're going to talk about Strunge?
No, guys. I told you I was really self-conscious about the fact that I fucked up Strunge's only dream of winning that one race one time.
I do want to talk about this really quickly. There is a move that I love so deeply that I've been using since the first arc of Camp-Paign 2. There's like, I don't know where I found this, but there was like a goblin boss monster that I found, and there was a reaction move where if the goblin boss gets hit, it can switch spots with one of their allies. I think if you remember all the way back with
cool.
like the crawfish
Oh,
boys,
yeah.
that like the one of them switched spots whenever you tried to hit them.
In the boathouse for rich people.
Yes, in the boathouse for rich people, not for scumbags. You're absolutely right.
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 It's a second house.
It's not. It's a community
It's a
space.
garage.
It's a house
It's a
for the
garage.
boat.
It's a community space to tell dirty jokes and get high, Brandon. and
Yeah,
it's,
Brandon.
and it's filled with mold. It's disgusting.
Oh wow! Some people have attached garages. Oh, so rich.
I think it's distinctly a detached garage for a
right,
boat.
you're right. I don't park on a hill down the block, whatever.
Imagine parking your boat on a hill and you got to put the parking brake on. So it was really funny.
That's
for
what
me.
an anchor is.
Yeah. Yes. Good point. Yeah. Good point, Julia. Good point. That's why you got to hit the P button to lower your anchor. So yeah, I really wanted to make just like some fun NPCs to be competing here. So it was really fun for me to come up with like the Wolf's Bane, the Poppy Field, the Brussels Sprouts, the Murder Hornet, and our good friend Strunge. Was Strunge the Murder Hornet? I forget.
Yeah.
Of course he was.
Oh, he was. I had the name Strunge, and I forget who I assigned it to, so that's why I was wondering. And the Murder Hornet Strunge, who I love. So it was fun coming up with like who are the most nefarious vegetables and bugs I can think of. So I really wanted to make it clear that Captain Graft was cheating. And I figured that doing something, while it felt like a little bit of me putting my hand on the weight there, it was an action, which is what I wanted you to see. Is like Captain Graft is doing something, and you should see it in the most obvious way possible.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Did you said you had the name Strunge already picked out?
Yeah. I wanted to name somebody Strunge. My mom, ever so often, sends me names that she's been doing this for a long time. She sends me names of people because she used to work at the Y in Nashville, and now she like does health coaching and stuff. So she sends me names that she thinks are funny. And I got the name Tempest Strunge, and I'm like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's a great name.
That's the coolest name I've ever heard. Holy shit. I would have bet 100 American human dollars that you made that up on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
No, Brandon, that's a real human name for a real human person.
Impressive. Shout out to that person's mom.
We need more infants named Tempest. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you can think of an
Agreed.
old lady named Tempest. I need a baby. I need a fresh baby. And they're like, yes, this is my darling Tempest. And I'll be like, I don't know. This baby's gonna lead the world one day.
It works because, like, when you're a baby and you're named Tempest, it's like, oh man, this kid is chaos because all kids are chaos, right? But then as you get older, like, you know, just it works. It works as opposed to like naming a baby like Jack or whatever,
Right.
or yeah.
I would say it is possible for a schoolyard bully to then call that child Pest, and that's not great.
Pretty
Yeah,
weak,
and then
though.
and then she'll say, here's Tem and Pest holding up her two fists. And then they'll make a knuckle sandwich.
I like that Amanda went a girl name. I definitely thought boy when I heard it. Interesting.
I think it's
Incredible.
gender neutral, baby. I think you
It
can
is
name
gender
anything
neutral. It's just
Tempest.
curious to see, you know, who's using it for what.
It's not even gender neutral. It's gender transcendent. Okay, gender is too restrictive for a baby named Temperance.
It's a force of nature at that point.
Just like Dianalise, Brandon, Troy Riptide's little sister, who came in like a wrecking ball.
I think Amanda's cheating. She's cheating to get these segues. I think she's using a spell.
Amanda, we're still talking about Strunge. Hold on.
You're right.
No. Keep going.
No, I think it's important that the creators of Dianalise talk about this. So, Amanda, Julia, how did you feel about Dianalise coming into the frame here?
Did I help create Dianalise?
You definitely contributed world building once Amanda. I think that you guys were like bouncing back and forth the idea that Troy has this like super intense little sister at some point. So I wanted to give you credit considering how I steal all of your other NPCs for other reasons.
I truly thought the credit was to you, Eric, because I think the first time she got mentioned was in the second Legends of the Past episode. I might be misremembering, and if credit is due to me, then I will take it. But I also want to give credit where credit is due here.
What we can all agree on is that I don't have any credit.
Yes, we can agree on that, Brandon.
That's definitely where it started. I think Amanda seeded that when we were starting to flesh out Troy's family a little bit more in the second Legends of the Past. But I distinctly remember Julia saying that like she was embedded in the separatist forest and was doing like covert missions there. And I definitely didn't come up with that one on my own.
If I did say that, shout out to Past Me. That was great.
Wouldn't it be wild if she didn't say that and Eric just mementoed himself into like coming up with a badass character?
It's very possible.
It's so cool.
But what folks may not know, and I mean, I hopefully came across in the edit, is that this was a complete shock to me. I had no input on, her name apart from, again, that one, thought and sort of conversation in Legends of the Past, part 2 that what Troy's other siblings are doing. But I was absolutely shocked. I was so delighted. I was so ready to get to know my new little sister. And Eric, what was it like thinking about giving one of my PCs another energetic and chaotic younger sister?
It's my favorite thing. We still point out that Amanda's sister Bailey does Quinn stuff regularly.
Okay, guys, here's a text from yesterday.
Yes.
Bailey is growing up and says, excuse me, Amanda, this is 12:40 a.m. Amanda, can you look at my bad big toe and tell me what the hell is going on?
Now, you would think that she would message your sibling that is an EMT about that.
You're not even close to a doctor.
Well, then she sent a picture of a toe with some kind of toe problem. And I said, I have no idea.
My favorite
Why
thing
did she
about
send it
this
to you?
is that she does live quite a number of time zones away.
Yes.
So it was like, no, I need to send you a photo of my toe now. And you responded 12 hours later
That's
after
right.
finishing sleeping.
Yep.
That's
right.
incredible. That's so funny.
So which of my relatives did you take Diana Lee's inspiration from?
Well, since this is a JRPG, Diana Leese is a little bit more of an archetype here. I thought it was a little more fun to have like an extra competent sister, especially when she was saying that she was your older sister because you're a big doofus. And it was so fun. I say this a lot that I do have trouble starting episodes of Join the Party regularly, and I've been trying to lean as much as possible into like really, really tropey ass anime and like video game cutscene stuff. So being able to start all the way back with my bad French accents and then coming in and doing something that already happened in the previous episode of The Dive, I was like sitting there for 5 minutes being like, well, how am I going to start this episode? And then I was able to do it like that, which is nice.
So good. I love the scenes, and having never played a JRPG, I'm still really into it, and it's making me want to play them now.
You play Pokemon. Isn't that technically a JRPG?
Oh,
It's
very
out
Yeah,
there.
I think so.
It's out there. Yeah.
Brandon, Julia, what was it like hearing Troy and Di converse under the little, very convenient tent of silence and privacy as you have no input as to what is actually happening in that conversation and what Troy, known doofus, can get from this actual source of intelligence?
There are times when it's really enjoyable for me to like lean back in my lawn chair with a lemonade and just watch Troy go. And that was one of those times.
It was interesting to finally have like a character who seems like they have answers for us. Like, I love Kid Cervantes, but not a font of information
Hey,
in
not a
this arc.
talker.
No.
Bite your tongue.
Not a font of information in this arc. Sorry, he's not.
You know who probably bit his tongue? Kid Cervantes, because he has no mouth.
So it was really interesting to see Troy be the one that is potentially getting information because, like, as a player, I'm confident that Amanda will ask the right questions, but I'm not confident that Troy Riptide will ask the right questions.
Listen, I'm just trying to get so far into character that I forget my own name. You know what I mean? And so I would not be confident in my Amanda's ability to ask the right questions. But in that moment, Troy really wanted to know how to get the hell out of this prison, and Di was not very forthcoming. So Eric, there were a number of opportunities where it seemed like you were either rolling or choosing kind of how much Di wanted to give away in that given moment. There was a well-placed nat 20, etc. So how do you approach generally bringing NPCs to us that have information we need and trying to like reward us for trying without just like giving information out because we ask for it?
Yeah. I think the thing I have to do is imagine that this character is real, that they have wants and needs and values and obligations, and there's only so much they can do. So, like, the thing that we realized here is that since Troy's been walking around with his wings out for the last 4 episodes, pretty much, like, now Di is here and is like, hey, your brother told you to stop it. Please stop it. I know you're a pirate prince, but I literally got taken out of CIA cover in the big woods to come and do this, right? So it's like, based on that, there's only so much I can do. And how she was so much more interested in telling you you were stupid than giving you information, whether that's her obligation as a sister, or her taking information from your brother more than delivering information. And like, that's the thing of how you guys need to extract information. I'm like, I will put this person in front of you, but you do need to extract the information you need out of them, especially because this is a point and click mystery game, as we've been referring to this particular arc.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, as I think the only youngest child here, is that correct? I know we have an only child and a twin.
That's correct.
And Amanda's the oldest, right?
And twins.
And
Sorry,
twins.
I have a sponsorship with Course where I have to say that.
And you're technically the older one, right, Eric?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, as the only youngest child here, if I have information that makes me more informed than my elder siblings, I ain't giving that shit up.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's your one power move.
And Brandon's not even in the CIA.
No.
Brandon got weirdly quiet when we said he isn't in the CIA. Just want to point that out real quick.
Yeah, 100%.
I would be the worst CIA person alive.
I think there'd be worse, Brandon.
That's
There would
true.
definitely be worse, such as most of the historical CIA.
The bigger difference that I wanted to get here is like, we're not doing like whatever was going on with Aggie in campaign 2 with all of her siblings, like something that's a little bit more comic booky, or at least, or not like Brady Bunchy, but maybe more sitcom family. This was like Succession.
Yes.
And the fact that she was Di, I was trying to make those references to that, is like, there's power involved and people don't want to tell each other. Yes, as Brandon said, like, siblings want to dunk on each other with their literal power structures. But even so, Di is like, I'm going to tell you the maximum amount I can tell you without people thinking that I sold out the power structures. And it's up to you three to debate whether or not that was helpful or how much she actually told you. And like, that's my responsibility versus like how much I'm giving you. It's almost like hints too. Like that's another thing I've been trying to deal with, is like, if an NPC parachutes out of nowhere and tells you information, is that a hint? Did you earn that? I think you did earn it because of, well, maybe not earn, but at least like kick the domino over where that would make sense. But you know, it's a really tough balance between wanting to give you information and then feeling like I'm just trying to, not that you are doing this, but it's seeming like I'm moving things along because you guys didn't get it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question. Were you intending on having Di interact with the underwater prison, regardless of whether or not Troy sort of came out of incognito mode?
No, this was an idea I had after stuff that happened. Like, you guys put in my head that this woman existed, and then I'm like, oh, that would be really funny if she got called in because Troy has been leading with his wings for the last 3 episodes.
Leading with his wings.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
That's really funny.
Well, there's even a bigger reveal in this episode, in episode 49, than the fact that Diana, Troy's sister, has a lot of answers in a dossier that she will not give out, which is the padlock that is buried near, under, around the Blackberry dragon, inscribed with words that are very familiar to all of us about how the water will slow to fall. Brandon, Julia, thoughts, reactions?
It was a really nice moment for us to figure that out after very nearly dying. It felt like, you know, a reward for surviving. And that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, it really felt like a checkpoint, you know, like a third act or whatever, third act turn or whatever you want to call that. Like I don't know what's gonna. I mean, I do know because we played it, but I don't know what's gonna happen next. And I'm excited to see because it seems obviously like something that is going to change the game.
I do want to say as well, is like, you could have found that on your own, but Di instead decided to help you.
Eric, we're very dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't dig at all.
Well, you didn't go over there
sand.
yet. But the thing is, you didn't go over to the
danger zone.
To the danger zone yet. Right, exactly. So she just kind of moved some stuff forward that you could have done on your own, but instead she decided to help you. But you would have played that game anyway. She was like, you need to go here right now, because if you wait any longer, the Blackberry Dragon's going to come out. And then you would have had to find a time when the Blackberry Dragon wasn't coming out to like really investigate around that area, and you're being watched the whole time. You know who hates it when you investigate where their cool dragon comes out of? The people who run the prison.
Cops.
True.
Yeah, the cops. So, yeah, it's like she was kind of rewarding you with this because she couldn't tell you much else.
Absolutely. And the listeners rewarded us with compliments about that scene specifically. Saved Man 97 says, I don't often post an Eric, what the fuck? But in regards to the end of Compost 5, specifically the chain and the writing, WTF. Great episode. Great addition to the lore. Love it. And
Thanks.
then Ben there, Aloha, said, I would love to specifically commend Brandon's incredible music and sound choices recently, especially in the moment that the writing was revealed. And Ben asks, Brandon, am I tripping, or is it the same synth key and chords as the OG Join the Party theme? It made that moment feel extra important, TM, and was such a good emotional boost to an already emotional ep.
I think the only thing I can say here is death of the author, baby. It's whatever it means to you.
Incredible.
I didn't make that music. I don't think it is. But I like that it could be in the same key. I don't know. I have to go back and look. But
it's still
yeah.
Brandon's mind curating the music, and it's definitely possible that there was like a familiar beat key, something like that.
Yeah,
that
You might have
makes it feel-
subconsciously
exactly
chosen it. Yeah.
exactly. Side note: there's someone called Lisa on Big Brother who's a vibe curator as her job, which means
That's nothing.
chef.
Not.
That means
Yep,
nothing.
Yes, it means
No,
chef to
Amanda.
celebrities.
No.
That's what she says. And
Oh, is she the glitter girl?
She's the glitter girl, and everyone hates her, and they're voting her out tonight because her vibes are so rancid.
I want to point
Good.
out something about Big Brother, which almost I don't know how I feel about this, but like there was like a white woman who had some problems with some of the black contestants on Big Brother, and she's not getting voted out because Lisa sucks so much.
Yep.
Wow.
Like that.
That's saying something.
I don't know what that says about America or Big Brother as a microcosm for America, but it says something.
Vibes so rancid, we're keeping the racists for one more week.
Yeah, we're keeping the white woman who stepped on people's feelings, who microaggressed at everybody instead.
Very true. All right, folks, that brings us to episode 50, Compost 6. This is Bramble's house, and God, I'm so glad we finally made it. It was so worth it.
Hey, it's Bramble. Julie and Brandon almost died.
Do, 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 do.
I felt like a little bit of a bummer when we got to Brambles and I said, I go to sleep immediately because I was like, I want to interact with Bramble and his house and stuff, but if I don't get my full 8 hours, I will probably die next episode.
But Julia, that time was not wasted. First, because you were able to recover and you really had to, but second, because you were able to dial the Baba Rutabaga hotline.
Yeah. 8675309.
8675. She's a witch.
Yeah.
I liked yours, Brandon. That was good.
That answers Sebalicious's question as to what Baba Rutabaga's phone number is.
Oh, there we go.
But Julia, my question is, can you feel it like a migraine when a Baba Rutabaga cutscene is about to happen and join the party?
No, it's more like deja vu where you're sitting somewhere and you're like, oh, something's about to happen. Something's about to happen.
Yeah. That was Dream Baba Rutabaga. That wasn't real Baba Rutabaga. I feel like in the anime or in the JRPG, like all of her characteristics are more exaggerated. You know? Like her chicken feet are like even bigger than you remember, and like her face is like really, really big. So, or she looks like the witch from Spirited Away, more so than she does usually. Yeah.
But also a rutabaga.
Yeah, and also a rutabaga. And that's why she ends up sounding like Joe Pesci at the end.
That makes sense.
Because I feel like you're like dreaming harder and harder, and she gets weirder and weirder.
Cammie's like, I didn't even know I knew this reference.
Both Cammy and Julia, as you dream harder and harder, you do sound more like Joe Pesci.
Real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Very true. And Brandon, are you so excited to be able to bring real life science Brandon to bear in Umbi's incredible, genuine scientific breakthrough?
Yeah, I know. I'm a genius. We don't need to make a big deal out of it, but
You
I am a
are.
genius.
Yeah, we're not going to talk
and-
about Brandon reading reading myfirstchemistry.com pages to me while doing this.
Hey, man, the fact that you even thought, oh, I can use science to make
Yeah.
oxygen, I think is a real win, even if you did have to read myfirstchemistryset.com.
I knew you could. Like, obviously knew because there's a lot of talk about on the moon or Mars. If we were to able find water somewhere, frozen water, you could separate it into hydrogen and oxygen, and then you can use that as
sure.
fuel or rocket fuel. So I knew that it's possible, but I just didn't know how you could do it. And then I was like, how can you do this easily? And then there was like 10 homemade ways to separate hydrogen and oxygen.
You did it.
You're like, should this be free on the internet?
Another reason I'm super glad that I long rested is because now I could use spells with Umbi's incredible invention.
And we didn't even have to like swim up to the surface, which we definitely would have been shot at or something, you know?
Yeah, something would have happened.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, there were a bunch of ways to figure this one out. This was kind of the main puzzle of this particular arc was like, why can't I do magic? And it's because the vinegar pickling liquid is inhibiting it. And how do we not do it? You make an air bubble. There are a few different ways to do it. You figured out it in the most scientific way, I would say. But I'm very happy to do it, especially because you went to Bramble's house last. You didn't understand why he was doing pottery.
No, just thought it was fun.
I said that.
Yeah, just thought it was a fun little character thing.
I said that was like the first thing I said about Bramble when he introduced himself.
And we were like, okay.
No,
You're like, all right, dog.
If you recall, Eric, the first thing I wanted to do was go to Bramble's house because I knew something was up with that pottery, but we decided it was better to stay together. So,
But we wouldn't have had all the clues
wouldn't have
if
had
we
all
had
the
gone to
clues.
Bramble's
It
house
wouldn't have
first.
done-
We
yeah.
just would have been like, oh, cool, this guy's just doing pottery
100%,
here.
yeah. I would have
Neat.
ghosted, and then it would have been weird, and we would have had to leave.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel you got kind of lucky with that. I feel like it's one of those things where you got to come back because there's not a lot happening at this location. I have to come back when I know more information. Yeah, he would
right.
have just been like, yeah, they don't like it when we have cups. So I have to make my own cups out of my own pottery and hide them.
We would have been like, oh, weird.
You're like, all right, okay.
Yeah, that's in retrospect such an amazing like breadcrumb toward the solution. But I have no doubt that in the moment I would have been like, weird. Okay, moving on.
Amanda, do you want to tell us about your book diving adventure and how you felt about it?
And your beautiful, beautiful Nat 20.
Oh, it
Oh,
was
God.
the such a well placed role. I do want to point out one of the reasons why I chose the gunslinger from Mei Chan Press is that you auto crit not just at 20 but at 19 as a gunslinger, and then as I'm leveling up, I now auto crit at 18 as well. I have never fucking once rolled an 18, 19, or 20 to hit when making an attack. So that
Are
blows.
your dice okay?
I don't think so, Julia. But I did roll a very well placed nat 20 in this case, which I was extremely proud of. But no, this is so much fun. Getting to read the book was amazing, and I feel like the Modeling Our Nations game that we played gave me such an appreciation for the fact that I was in a meeting trying to be like, hey, could you restate the premise for the record? And all of that. It was so fun. And damn, seeing a younger Gloria, like I freaked out. It was so cool.
She was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was out.
Now you think characters are hot. Okay.
Oh, no, I think Umbi was always kind of into Gloria.
Yeah.
Because they were like around the same age.
No, that's not true, Julia.
She's like
No?
800 or something, right?
Yeah, but she was in a sleep, like a divine
Yes,
sleep
that's
for
true.
a long time.
She was divine sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny to call a worm hot.
Yeah,
She is,
no, it
though,
is.
Brandon. She is. She's the hottest worm you've ever seen.
Sorry, I got derailed by Julia saying that was the hottest worm I've ever seen. I wouldn't be like, a worm? For real?
Is she slimy though?
Yo, how slimy is she? Did she glow in the dark though?
You cut her in the middle and she regenerates her tail toe?
Oh my god.
Listen, that's not my flavor of romance novel, but power to you.
Mm-hmm.
Where people get torn in half and then regrow their limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. My favorite part about people getting torn in half is when they get a little baby arm and like that, or like a
Like
baby.
in Deadpool.
Yeah, like in Deadpool. That's my favorite self regeneration trope. I think it's really funny. I love like a just it happening immediately sort of thing that Wolverine and Kimiko from The Boys does, but I really like it when they have to have like little baby parts first. I find that funny.
So, Eric, is this a thing that you knew could happen at Bramble's house? Or was this more in the moment when you mentioned that there were books and Troy ran over there?
Yeah, did you make this up on the spot?
I did know the book was in the house, and I came up with it the session before. There's stuff I knew you were going to find out about Gloria at some point, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
But I did know this book existed, and I did kind of write out. Let me check my notes here. I had written down, Bramble has an ancient text on his bookshelf next to his pottery wheel, and then I wrote out some stuff about lycanthropy. But that's pretty much it. I also knew that Gloria was there. I knew that Gloria was in South Compost City, and I was trying to think of a way to put that in, but I had to come up with that scene on the spot.
So you had the pun ready, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You knew what
dude.
the background was going to be.
Yeah, I knew that it was going to be I wanted it to be a meeting. I think I was really proud of myself for dripping out clues like I did. I really was trying to do it like a CW show. I'm like, I'm gonna drip out clues. I don't care if it's schlocky. I don't care that there's I'm going for the big twist at the end. I would be like, it's like, boy, bringing us lunch. What are you doing here outside of the curfew? And I'm like, and then Amanda's just gonna have to sit with that. We're gonna come back to it at some point. And then finally, I wanted Gloria to stand up and the whole lycanthropy thing to happen.
And because it was a CW, she is super hot.
Yeah, super hot.
Very true. And Lyle says, my only question is, Eric, who do you think you are coming in here with puns like lycanthropy? Do you think being the best GM in podcasting gives you carte blanche to be that unashamedly funny with no warning? I could not take the tonal 180 between serious meeting where Troy might get found out, getting urgent information about the place we are, and then this fucking pun.
Monster attack and then pun.
The monster attack was clutch. I knew I was off and running. Usually I have to disguise my face when I'm about to set up a stupid joke like that, but I didn't have to because I was too busy describing the monster turn, which I thought was fun.
Big spooky, yes.
Yeah, big spooky into pun, Julia. You know that combo.
And Julia, I really applaud you for making what just reminds us that, this is sort of like a silly game at the end of the day, or on a base level before we add meaning to it, which is did I notice any boulders? Are there a lot of boulders here? Can I do a boulder check? Which is completely true and also completely absurd.
Yeah.
Well, if we learn something new about the world, I gotta make sure that it checks in with what I have already understood to be the world. So if Eric says lycanthropy turns you into a monster and then a boulder in the space that we currently are, I want to see, are there boulders around?
Being a DM, being a game master is having to tell one of your players, there are boulders, but not enough that you would have noticed it before this moment.
Like an average
That's
amount.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like an average amount.
You wouldn't think to look for boulders until the moment I mentioned that a disease turns people into monsters and then boulders.
Right, exactly.
All right, folks, lots more to say and answer about Verda Stello and our podcast. But first, let me just run back into the kitchen. I have some more mini croissants for us.
Mini croissant?
Wow.
Are they filled with chocolate?
Half plain, half chocolate. Be right back. Hey, it's Amanda, and welcome to the Mid-Roll. Welcome especially to our newest patron, and I'm just going to say one of the better usernames I've ever seen on Patreon. No hugs, just bugs. Nothing but respect for you. No hugs, just bugs. Welcome as well, and thank you to Catherine F., who just upgraded their pledge. A thing you can do, by the way, if you decide that stuff like ad-free episodes, video versions of party planning, and more are your bag. Go on ahead to patreon.com/join the Party Pod and join or upgrade your pledge today. By the way, if adding another monthly subscription to your life is not your fave, totally get it, you can pay for a full year of Patreon support and get 2 months free on your membership while you do it. All of that at patreon.com/jointhepartypod. This week at Multitude, wouldn't you like to bring like a spooky, chilly little breeze to your summer? That worked in my head, not so much in reality. If you're going on any road trips this year, a show that I highly recommend listening to after you've, of course, caught up on all of Join the Party is Spirits, the show that Julia and I have been making together since 2015. That's right, coming up on 10 years of us owning spiritspodcast.com, which is insane. This is, of course, the history and comedy podcast where we talk about everything folklore, mythology, and the occult, and often touch on topics like feminism, queerness, mortality, and modern adulthood. Found family is especially a favorite topic of ours. Basically, every week, Julia brings me a story from mythology and folklore around the world and teaches me about it. And I get to learn and make silly references, and it's a ton of fun. You can start listening to any of the almost 400 episodes that we have released over the last 7 years. Episode 400 going out tomorrow as you listen to this. There is just so much to enjoy, and you can dive in anywhere. You don't have to listen in any particular order. So go on ahead, search Spirits in your podcast app, or go to spiritspodcast.com. We are sponsored this week by Volante Designs. If you just came from Gen Con, hope you're well, hope you're recovering. We were on vacation in Canada instead, and you want to, bring something feeling like a fan convention to your everyday life. A great way to do that is incredible outerwear, like vests and jackets and dusters made by Volante Design. They have both inspired designs that they make themselves that make you feel kind of like cyberpunk or like a rogue. It's really fun. Or also, they have, no big deal, officially licensed lines of apparel from series like Assassin's Creed, Devil May Cry, and Star Trek. Absolutely incredible. I've been lusting after Star Trek command jackets for probably 15 years at this point. So just go to volantedesign.us and you can use the code Join the Party for 10% off your entire order. That's a pretty big deal when their products are made ethically and well, and they back their products in case they are damaged or you need help with them. So it's a big deal. Thank you, Volante, for doing it. Once more, that is volantedesign.us and use code Join the Party for 10% off your entire order. We are also sponsored this week by Tab for a Cause. This is, of course, the browser extension that lets you raise money for charity while just doing your thing and browsing the internet. Whenever you open a new tab on your laptop or desktop, you'll see a beautiful photo and a small ad. It's very unobtrusive. It's very classy. And what that does is raise money for charity while you are just hanging out online. You don't have to put any money into it. You don't have to do anything except download a browser extension. And you also get to see a very pretty photo of somewhere in the world. And then you get to also allocate where the money you raise for charity goes. You can join Team Join the Party, which has raised thousands and thousands of dollars for charity over the years at tabforacause.org/join-the-party. One more time, that's tabforacause.org/join-the-party. And now let's get back to the show. All right, folks, we're back. I hope that the croissants and the jam bar are to your liking.
Oh, they're so good.
So good, Amanda.
I can't believe
Great
you
job.
got fig pear marmalade. It's so good.
That's the best kind.
Only
That's a
the
good
best for
combo.
you.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this, but Amanda and I are recording this from a hotel room, and we're doing this on our hotel bed. And this is what Podcast Rich looks like, folks.
Yeah. Not any other kind of rich, just podcast.
Just
That's what
rich.
Joe Rogan does every episode.
Yeah, he records.
No, Joe Rogan is supplement rich.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
It's funny to think that his studio is like the penthouse of a hotel in Austin, Texas. And a bellhop comes and brings him gold-plated aux cords.
Real gold. Good for connections.
Your mogami, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right, but folks, we got a ton of fascinating and lovely questions from the beautiful Join the Party community about the game, characters, and Verda Stello. Beginning with, this one is from Sebalicious. Does Troy have a sibling called, like, Olivides? And are they some kind of healer? Because then we'd have the assassin sibling die and the healer sibling live.
Oh, that's
I love that.
fun.
Probably.
Well, all women are doctors, so
That's
that would
right.
make sense.
That's true.
If Troy had another sister who was a healer or a doctor.
Love that.
That's fair.
Lulu wants to know which of his siblings is Troy closest to and why. I think he'd probably say Hyperion, and Hyperion would just sort of like pass out further into his bed thrown from exhaustion upon hearing that.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That checks out.
My favorite thing about Hyperion is that he's the haggard and always sleepy. And I'm thinking about like the pointy Game of Thrones throne, and not even the one that we saw on TV, but like the one that George R. R. Martin described is like infinitely larger and has infinitely more swords and pointy parts on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love the idea of him putting like airport pillows all over all over it.
Yeah, ergonomic. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, poor Hy. Mel wants to know, has Troy ever looked at the barrel book with glasses on? I don't think he can handle it, frankly. I think that would be too...
He'd just be surrounded by barrels.
Exactly. It'd be too much.
It's like the video of the drunk girl when she gets the puppies crying. She's like, I can't take care of them.
But imagine he's like Troy is now transported into like a History Channel documentary on barrels.
Listen,
He'd never leave. We would never see him again.
He never would. He would just like plug in permanently to
Do you think eventually he would sort of turn into the History Channel's Ancient Aliens guys about barrels? Like the hardcore conspiracy guy about barrels like 30 years down the line?
How did the Egyptians even come up with barrels?
Yeah, right?
It's impossible. Aliens had to do it.
Amazing. Oh, that'd be so much fun. Helen asked, do green folk change with the seasons at all? Like, do the leafy plant folk get orange leaves in the autumn, etc.?
Oh.
I always assumed so.
Yeah, I like the idea of it for sure.
It'd be cool if they kind of changed through the life cycle of the plant as the green folk got older, and like moved kind of through like what we would see as one season into, because for many plants like that is their life cycle, and I think that'd be kind of beautiful to be like, oh yeah, like I'm embracing my my gray hair and my beautiful like autumnal maple leaves.
Yeah, I like that. That's great.
I also really like the idea of it being a regional thing. Like, for example, when I played Sir Dune in the one-shots, I pictured Sir Dune as, like, always being in winter mode because she lived in, like, a part of the crags that was always snowy, you know?
Yeah. Regionality and age makes more sense to me than seasons because, we haven't figured out exactly how the whole... like sun works. I'm like, there's one sun, shut up. But
Fair enough.
But other than that is like, it wouldn't work with having like a Bialy shaped world like that. Don't tell Dr. Moya McTeer that I'm not thinking about this. But
Aaron, tell that to the flat earthers.
I know, seriously.
Yeah, right. But the whole middle, I mean, is that it almost feels like it has to be a little bit tropical because it's a pirate thing, but One Piece rules says I can do whatever weather at any point. So
fair.
I like the two things that we came up with instead of the other thing, just so that I don't need to like think about the vernal equinox. If that's okay with you guys.
It is.
I guess.
It's a shame that the pawpaw tree or fruit or whatever is not evergreen, because that would make sense why he was so old then.
Sure.
Well, he's a fruit, so he's as old as a fruit can be, I suppose.
Do you think the green folk version of toupees is like clipping or gluing your foliage on? Or like sourcing foliage from younger green folk?
Very possible.
Or maybe they're unburdened by ageism. Hopefully that.
Yeah. We all treat Umbi with so much respect, so I don't think we're encumbered by ageism at all.
This is what you call respect, Julia? That's what you call respect? Huh?
I'm just trying to think of like what kind of slang terms they would use for a toupee. You know how they call a toupee a rug? Like you'd probably call it a thatch or something like that.
A lawn.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lawn. Yeah.
That's good.
That's really good.
Jeff Tattooed and Tall said, can we all agree that Umbi's time bombs are painted with a little black coat, white shoes, and a black hat?
Only when they have to blow up a fancy, like, What do you call those things where rich people give money to
Gala.
things?
Yeah,
A gala. Only when he has to blow up a gala. Yeah.
Umbi blowing
Like
up the
the
gala
Riddler.
at the boathouse. Yeah.
I was about to make that joke.
I'm sorry, Brandon. I have to commend myself and also Brandon for rolling with this. Of my favorite joke of these 3 episodes was when you took the time bomb and gave it to someone else, and they said thanks and put it in their armpit.
That was great.
That was good.
And
'Cause-
gross.
Yeah. Now that we can talk about it, I've been thinking about what works in the vinegar solution and what doesn't, and something that's more natural, like the bramble bomb, worked, but the other things couldn't, like the flames wouldn't light because it was in the liquid. So that's what I was thinking while that was happening. I was like, I knew that, and I've been waiting on it for the last few episodes because I let you have the bramble bomb, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if Brandon's going to try to do something else here. And then it just setting that up for that guy to just take it and stick it in his vest was so funny.
It was really good.
Great follow-up from Dominique. Julia, after what happened in South Compost, will Cammy consider multi-classing in case they're again in a situation where their magic doesn't work?
Oh.
I don't think so. I have multi-classed at least once now because I love spellcasting. And I talked about this when we first got into this arc. It's scary as a spellcaster to not be able to spellcast. However, I think it was an interesting limitation by Eric to say, oh, well, your T witch class stuff works, but your witch spells don't work. I think that was a really interesting like caveat to put on the limit of like what essentially is an anti-magic field.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think it would make Cammy think, oh, I have to go ahead and like make sure I can wield a sword or whatever in the future. I think it's more like Cammy is like, oh, well, my beautiful magic works even when other people are limited. And that's beautiful and amazing.
Yeah, aren't you happy you got cursed?
Get out of here, Joe Pesci.
Get out of here, Joe Pesci.
Or as I'm Not a Goldfish put it, even if magic isn't an option, the crew always has the power of friendship. Sparkle
That's
emoji.
true.
Very true.
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
right.
Wow.
Dominique also wants to know, Brandon, what type of genius do you think Umbi is? Is it more like Albert Einstein, Dr. Frankenstein, or Dr. Draken from Kim Possible, or another genius that you can think of?
I saw this and I was thinking about it, and I think I have the answer, but I'm curious to see if Eric will get it. Eric, what do you think I'm going to say?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I was more thinking about like the madness scale that Umbi was on from Einstein to Oppenheimer.
Julia, what do you think I'm going to say?
I think it's the guy from Futurama.
No.
The good
Ooh.
news, everyone.
Yeah, Dr. Farnsworth is a good one.
No.
Who?
Hold on, let me make sure I have
As
it
he has to
right.
Google what the person is.
It's, of course, Bunsen and Beaker from the Muppets.
Is he the Bunsen or is he the Beaker?
I think he's Beaker, but he can talk, obviously.
Umbi is the perfect combination of both Dr. Honeydew and Beaker. I think so.
Right,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Adorable. And then, Eric, a final question from Dominique to you specifically. Would you in the future sing to me the happy birthday song a la Marilyn Monroe when I turn 50, pretty please? And I'm fairly certain Dominique has about half their life, if not slightly more, until 50.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be pretty fun. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Time capsule it now.
I'll dress up like Megan Hilty from Smash.
Love it. So here's a fascinating prompt from EP Fella. Now, this isn't a board game, but Troy and Umbi have to play bingo, right? And I just was so amused thinking about what would happen if you taught Troy about bingo and how seeing, I think, just like 3 to 5 things in a row at any point in any context would have him just shouting bingo. Like five sungulls in the sky, bingo. You got like 5 blorps of algae on a rock, bingo. Like it's, and then you just be like, I regret teaching him this.
Now, Amanda, I might have misheard you because I heard you say 3 things in a row first. And
Yeah.
I love the idea that Troy is so excited about
Exactly.
almost bingo.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's really funny.
Like it's 4 in a free space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or just 5 if you don't get the free space one.
Why do you people know how to play dominoes?
Bingo?
Bingo.
Bingo, whatever the fuck.
Because I go to drag bingo like once a month.
Because I grew up a
Brandon.
human child.
Did you not do bingo when you were a kid?
Oh, I'm thinking. Okay, I was
Is
thinking.
that for the rich as well?
Yeah, I'm not a fucking wealthy northeasterner. You fucking. I play with hoops and sticks like good poor people do.
As we all know, bingo, a thing for rich people.
I'm starting to think that when Brandon doesn't know something, he says it's for rich people and lashes out.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Eric.
Chaos.
I'm afraid that over time it would start to evolve from bingo into bazinga, and that is
sure.
untenable.
Yeah,
Untenable.
that's a IP crossover that our lawyers have not cleared.
Mhm.
Although I would watch Young Troy, the show.
I also would watch Young Troy the show. I think that's just what the campaign is.
Yeah, the
That's
funny
true.
thing is that the actor who played young Sheldon but now plays medium Sheldon, like teen Sheldon, is a big fan of Survivor. And so he crosses over with my podcast sometimes. And they're like, oh, yeah, medium Sheldon is on this show. And I'm like, I can't.
Oh, no.
I simply can't.
Oh, no.
God, that kid's gotta
Anyway.
be so fucking rich now.
I know, right?
Oh, sure.
Moss asks a very sweet and timely question. What are each of our characters most likely to be a gold medalist Olympic sport categories?
Oh.
Ooh.
I think Umbis does.
Umbi.
Umbi. I think Umbis does. It's not uneven bars. What are the ones where you the gymnastics where you hang down from the ropes with the hoops?
The rings.
The rings. That's what it's called. The rings.
Yeah.
I think I would like to see Umbi do the rings.
That's cool.
I think it'd be very sweet to watch Troy do a floor routine. Like archery is the easy answer, sharpshooting, an easy answer. And we've all seen incredible memes of that Turkish guy who just like rolled out of bed and got a silver medal.
Incredible.
He's also a cat dad, adorable.
Yes,
Context.
I saw this.
But
But compared to the, I think, South Korean woman
Yes.
who is all teched out like she was
Yes.
in Cyberpunk 2077.
yes, gun mommy.
Oh, yeah. But Troy could be those. That could be you. I want to see Troy just like hold a crossbow in one hand and then put his hand in his pocket. In
The
his
fact
other
that
hand.
the hand is in the pocket is my favorite part.
Mhm.
But no, that'd be really fun.
Oh, I don't know for Cammy. I don't think it would be like a water sport necessarily.
We all know green folk can't swim.
I feel like Cammy might be secretly really good at beach volleyball.
Hey.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I was going to say Cammy could compete in the esports that recently got brought into the
Oh, yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah.
She's really good at League of Legends.
Ooh.
Cammy goes to Tahiti, but not to surf.
just to help Colin Jost, whatever the fuck is going on with him. The gangrene he has on his toes.
Amanda's right when you said that green folk can't swim, but I'm pretty sure in the past I have said that Umbi was a swimmer in college.
Oh,
So-
Umbi was a diver, and I think that diving is a thing, but you got to get them out of the pool immediately.
There's a rescue effort every time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a
yeah.
net.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
love
know
that.
how there's like spotters in gymnastics always? I think it's very similar for diving, yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
That's tight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Julie, is it possible Cammy and Nani do synchronized diving, but one of them is very small?
Yes.
Which one is up to you?
It's Cammy.
So cute.
Oh my god.
Here is a great question from Rain Storms the Beach Boy. When we get some of those sweet, sweet sound effects on the pod, what does the original cut of those moments sound like? Does Eric describe the sound? Or is there a secret JTP cut with all analog sound effects by Eric? # release the silver cut.
I think a lot of the analog sound effects make it to the final cut.
Yeah,
See,
real.
this is I'm curious what you mean by sound effects because there are no sound effects on the podcast. So anything you hear Eric is making, unless you're hearing like music, maybe. But yeah, at some point I was like, Eric, continue and do more sound effects with your voice because I ain't gonna do it. So
Real.
Well, there was the muffling effect on Eric's and my voices when we were in the sort of like tent of silence. That's the only recent one that comes to mind. And then plus from the very beginning, Brandon has panned character voices into one side of the headphones or the other so that you can more easily distinguish when we're in character and not.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think of those things as mixing things, but yeah.
Yeah, the Brandon's strengths lie in his manipulation of Pro Tools which is saying something that's very powerful and necessary. So it's like I would always love to, like we don't have a Foley department, so like I want to do the thing, and then Brandon can make that sound exactly the way that we want it to sound.
Brandon doesn't introduce sound that wasn't in the original recording session, except for music. Is that fair to say? Almost all the time.
But now that you but now that you say that about the mixing thing, Amanda, sometimes like if Eric makes a monster voice or whatever, I'll do an effect on that. But Eric's always making those noises. I just affect them. With plugins.
Right. I mean, you also do atmospheric stuff, but you're never like, and then this thing makes a splashing noise, and you don't like add a splash to it.
That's the actual play shit of the whole thing. Is like if we weren't recorded, maybe I would have a soundboard. But I think the whole point of actual play is like enhancing something that is at the table that we would all do or do. I said do with your own imagination. But we do have post-production, so we are making it like we're trying to kind of splitting the distance here for people to get there, because we can do that with sound changes.
It is, yes, it's simply, and I've said this before, but it's simply not possible to have this show come out weekly and also actually do full sound design. So it has to be the middle ground there that Eric's describing.
I've always described the show as like enhanced reality. Like we're trying to get at the feeling of being at a table and somebody describing to you what's happening, and you're like so effing in it because you're like in the room and plugged in, like it matters and it affects you. And I think all the things that Brandon does to enhance what Eric is already doing in the room. Like I don't feel as if I'm missing anything because I'm listening to the analog real life cut, because like I'm in it, I'm controlling the character, I'm sitting right there, it's me in the room on the Zoom call. That all that really matters to me, and we're hoping to get you guys to the same level of investment and buy-in and like immersion in the world.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
cute. Bento Cato wants to know, will there be merch for season 3 of Join the Party? I still wear my Camp Dye shirt, my Time Shark pin all the time, and I'd love to have a cute Verda Stello merch.
Is this a who can say?
We are working. We're working on stuff.
Working on stuff. It's taking a little while because we're going to make it real good for you guys. So yes, there is tight as hell Campaign 3 merch on the way.
Yeah, that you will be able to purchase by the end of this year.
By the end of this year,
hopefully? Question mark.
Hopefully sooner.
We've sort of, our philosophy of merchandise has sort of flipped, where we want to make less really high quality stuff that we know you guys will be stoked about. Than more or fewer, like, just pump out more different options,
I can think of like 3 things that we're working on right now that are going to be purchasable within the year, if not like by the beginning of 2025. Like you're gonna get it. It's just taking a while to do this hot shit.
To do it right. Yeah, I know. I'm not interested in like offering a ton of like print on demand t-shirts that like won't hold up super well, but you guys do enjoy, because the stuff that sells that you're excited about, that we're excited about, are stuff like, incredibly dope pins, hats that really matter, the dice that, y'all roll every single week at your tables. So we're working on the stuff that we think you're going to be incredibly stoked to buy.
Yeah.
Mage wants to know, Eric, how much has your vision updated as the campaign went on? I remember you saying super early in the season that when you guys were coming up with the setting, you were inspired by the hunger stones in parts of Europe that have warnings on them about a bad growing season that will follow if the river gets below a certain point. And that whole reveal of the padlock with the blackberry dragon definitely had that sort of feeling to it. So I'm curious, is this what you've been imagining since the beginning, or if you've changed it but kept the kind of vibes based on new ideas, growth of the characters, and a resolving picture of the diming knot?
Yeah, what's funny, and I'm always so inspired by One Piece, is that like, sometimes I see a meme where like they have 4 of the, popular anime boys there, like Naruto is there, and it's like friendship and learn how to be a ninja and rely on each other's family, and like Haikyuu is like volleyball's great. And then you see Luffy, and it's like police only exist to be like to be the personal armies of the rich and powerful. We'll do everything to protect them. And like I think about that a lot because I love the beginning, the kicking off of One Piece. It's like this guy, Gold D. Roger, was the pirate, and he hid all of his treasure in one place, and it changed the way that everyone interacted here. Like it became in a very sort of like Ready Player One sort of way. It's like there is a gambit, and then everyone's gonna start trying to run towards the gambit, and everything changes accordingly. And I did want to start like 50 years after that happened to make sure that like pirates and being pirates was established. However, there was always that kind of like looming worry that we're all spending so much time being pirates, we're not addressing the key issue. I think we've touched on this a lot with Umbi's Legends of the Past. So it's like, I'm always thinking that like, the thing that I've been doing since campaign 2 is like, things are happening somewhere else. And if you're having fun fucking around and being a pirate, someone might be doing something somewhere else. And I've been trying to get that across with like the Legends Across the Sea and with the Model Our Nations game that we played, because this world does move and does do things a different direction. So as much as I feel like the collision of the fun, silly, wild, anything can happen action of this campaign has finally started colliding with the underlying premise that Verda Stello is in trouble, and a lot of people are going to do something about that for their own personal gain. This arc, I think, is starting the collision of that as we are flying down towards the end of this story.
Please, Eric, chasing the cheese down the slope to the
as we are running, we're going to the final part where everyone's reaching out their hands to grab the cheese down the hill. You're right, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you didn't ask, but that's the Olympic sport I'd be best at.
There you go.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Relatedly, EP Fellow wants to know, y'all seem vaguely surprised that you hit 50 episodes. Eric, did you plan for less roadblocks or general shenanigans? Is it because episodes are getting longer, so it's more hours, yay, or just a general celebration of the milestone? Tell me about how you feel about hitting 50.
Well, happy birthday to you. No, the thing is that I think about this a lot, how the original campaign of the Adventure Zone hit 69-ish episodes. There were a lot of multiple part episodes there at the end. And like the first campaign of Bohemia for Not Another D&D Podcast hit 100. Yeah, I just know that shit off the top of my head. My brain is broken. So I've always been thinking about like how long this is. And we've always continued to be a campaign focused show as more shows I think have pivoted towards more anthologic stuff. Because I think, I don't know, announcements are more about new stuff is more exciting than like playing out whole games, but that's just not how we do. And also because we're still playing Dungeons & Dragons, which I don't know is going to happen just as everyone's at Gen Con right now. And a lot of things are changing with the new version of D&D they're putting out, which seems to be turning everything into World of Warcraft. But that's a whole other podcast episode.
Subscribe to the Patreon, and we can talk about that.
Yeah. So I think it's more that I was surprised that we've done 50 episodes in a world that I came up with, which is something that was new and always a challenge for this campaign. Campaign 1 was 57 episodes with the epilogue, and Campaign 2 was 58.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Am I seeing a trend?
I don't know. We'll see. I feel like we spent more time doing other stuff in this campaign, like with the one-shots. And I think we're including the one-shots with those episodes. We did 3 one-shots. We did a Model Our Nations game, that's 4, and then we did 2 Legends of the Past. It's like 6 in-world episodes that didn't move the plot forward, right? And then of course we have the beach episode. We have the beach episodes. We have the growing our skill tree episodes.
Those definitely count. Yeah,
they count, but like they're different. So I don't know. Like there's definitely like a few things we need to do that we haven't done yet in my head, and I just don't know how long that's going to take. If it's going to take an arc, if it's going to take like a mini arc, if it's just going to take like 2 or 3 episodes. But where we're going, I mean, the brakes are off. We are hard charging towards the end of this story. A lot of action is going to happen in a short amount of time, which is great. I just like want to see where we end up here, and it's taken a little bit longer to get here. Because there's definitely there's probably a shorter version of this where like maybe you found the salmon in 30 episodes and then we would have played out what happened after that. Is a different version of this.
Yeah.
But I really like and appreciate that all of us want to, tell the story in the way it has to be told. We influence it as we go on. So like Eric could come in with an outline or a sense of, I think we'll go, 50 to 60-ish. And then our actions and our preferences impact what it is that we do. You're not like hurrying us out the door because like it went a little long, and you're not like dragging things out because we're going faster than you expected.
No, I don't want to rush it. I don't want to rush it just because we're here. I mean, what's the point? What, I'm going to rush the last few episodes just so I can hit 59? Like, no, we're gonna see. I mean, I'm really hoping not to hit 69. I think that was like the boundaries of what a campaign can be, and I think NADPOD loved Bohemia so much they never wanted to leave. So I'm hopefully we're gonna hit around 60 something. But again, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah,
stuff's happening.
I did just have the thought of a prequel little mini campaign at the start of the Tides, like year 1, where like the pirates are new and they're
inventing piracy.
And they're fighting the British or whatever, like the British.
Yeah, fighting the British.
Sounds like a fun live show.
Sounds good.
I don't know. Could be fun. All right, folks. Well, I am so excited to see what's next. We have a lot of folks who are excited and anxious to know about like how Diana Lees got into the prison, what she's doing behind the scenes as she's talking to all of the guards, how we are going to potentially get out if the guards believe this is the real Troy Riptide, why exactly vessels are banned if it's just the air pocket thing, and what exactly is going to happen if and when we reveal more of that Blackberry Dragon padlock apparatus.
Will Umbi die in his sleep?
Yep.
Will Umbi die in his sleep?
Every day. That's a question I ask. But I have just one more question for Spoil the Plank from Jay Powers, giving me some ideas. Is the dragon porthole just a door to another room or a teleportation situation?
Ooh, who can
I like
say?
Teleportation situation. As like
just as a phrase.
A phrase. And maybe like a band name?
Yeah.
I was going to say, that'd be a
situation.
pretty cool band name.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Well,
Pretty good.
A lot to come. We've played the next 1 or 2 episodes, I think, from here. And already I can tell you there is so much more to come. And I'm so excited for y'all to hear it.
The next episode, I think, is my favorite we've recorded in a really long time. So I'm really excited for everyone to hear it.
True. Very, very true. I'm really excited to record. Yeah, we recorded 1 episode and now I'm like, oh, I really want to see what happens next. I got to come up with what happens next, but I want to see what happens next.
Ooh.
At this point, it's just like, yeah, the inevitability is just going to start happening. Things I thought of 50 episodes ago are going to start happening. And I think that's kind of crazy.
They're coming to fruition.
They're coming to
Ooh.
fruition.
Exactly.
It's coming to Fruit Jam Mission.
It's the remix to Fruitnition.
All right, we have to leave now.
All right, we have to go.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your support, your enthusiasm. I am so grateful that we get to do this as a job in community with all of you. And
That's extra funny when we're doing this in a hotel bed. You're like, here with my gold-plated microphone. Thank you for supporting us, community.
on the other hand, we can't afford to not record when we're on vacation.
Yeah,
but-
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Eric, do you think hotels are for rich people?
Yes.
Yeah, like boathouses. And bingo, Brandon.
Incredible. Well, folks, thank you again for listening. We're excited to bring you an excellent episode next Tuesday. But in the meantime, we'll be hanging out with you on social media at Join the Party Pod, on Twitter, on Instagram, Multitude Shows, on TikTok, where you can see fun clips from our recording sessions. And of course, the Hip Hoppin'ist place on the internet, the patron-only Discord. So we'll be seeing you then.
Bye.
Later.
Oh, I fell asleep. I'm in a bed. I'm recording in bed.
May your rolls trend ever upward.
I'll sing you a song that all green folk know.
Until the water falls home. That only began 50 years ago. Until the water falls home. We seek the deep lake and a wish-granting salmon. Until the water falls home. So hoist up the sails and lower
Brandon, put in a sound effect of me snoring.
All right, Eric, can you give me a sound effect? of you snoring?
Shoo.
Thank you.
Shoo. But like make me sound really cute while I'm snoring.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
like
cool.
like pitch him up a few octaves.
Yeah, put that cute factor on.
Okay, cool. Let me ask Julia if she can do it.
I'm
Julia,
gonna stop recording.